Okay, so the news just dropped. Garmin has unveiled its brand new, top-of-the-line aviator smartwatch, the D2 Mach 2. It is absolutely loaded with advanced tech, but yeah, it also comes with a pretty serious price tag. So the big question is it actually worth it? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive deep into some of the first looks and initial reviews, like the great one from the 5K runner, to help you figure out if this watch should be your next co-pilot.
So, before we get lost in all the cool new features and specs, let's just take a step back and ask a really basic question. What does a pilot actually need on their wrist? You know, it's so easy to get overwhelmed by a long list of features, so we're going to try and focus on what gives you real practical value up there in the cockpit. Let's keep that in the back of our minds as we go through everything Garmin's packed into this thing.
And Garmin isn't shy about it either. They are calling the D2 Mach 2 their flagship. And you know what that means, right? It's supposed to be the absolute best of the best they can make. We're talking the most advanced features, the most premium materials, and, no surprise here, the highest price. So the real question for us is, does it live up to that flagship promise?
All right, here's a quick look at our flight plan. We'll start with the new flagship model, then get into the nitty-gritty of the pro-level aviation tools. After that, we'll look at the new smart features, the all-important battery life and build, and finally, we'll talk about the price and give you our final verdict. Let's get into it. All right, Section 1, Garmin's new flagship. It's more than just a watch. They're calling it a co-pilot. Now, what's really interesting here is that Garmin didn't just drop one watch. Nope. Alongside the big dog D2 Mach 2, they also released a more, let's say, budget-friendly option, the D2 Air X15. Both are big steps up, for sure, but it's really the Mach 2 that's trying to change the game for what a pilot's watch can be.
In this quote from Carl Wolf, Garmin's VP of Aviation, really nails it. He talks about using voice commands to start a flight and connecting directly to your avionics for alerts on your wrist. This gets right to the heart of what's new here: voice control and real deep integration with the plane's systems. The idea is to make this watch less of a gadget and more of a truly essential piece of your flight system.
Okay, so let's move on to the really cool stuff, the pro-level aviation tools. I mean, this is what makes a D2 watch a D2 watch, right? It's what separates it from any old smartwatch. And this is where the D2 Mach 2 really has to prove it's worth that premium price tag. We're talking about features made for one place and one place only: the cockpit.
So check this out. These are the features you only get on the top-tier D2 Mach 2, and they are a big deal. The mapping, wow. They're saying it's the most advanced aviation maps ever on a Garmin watch. You get live track logs, like a breadcrumb trail, which is awesome for situational awareness. You can even customize the little aircraft icon. But honestly, the feature that really stands out, the one that could be a huge deal for safety, is the new Personal Minimums alerts.
So what on earth are personal minimums? Think of it like this. It's basically a smart weather co-pilot that lives on your wrist. See, every pilot has their own set of weather limits, conditions they're comfortable and, more importantly, certified to fly in. This new feature lets you program your specific limits. We're talking crosswinds, visibility, cloud ceilings, all that stuff right into the watch. So if the weather at your destination crosses one of your thresholds, boom, the watch alerts you. It's a seriously powerful and super personalized safety feature. All right, next up, the next-gen smart features. Because, let's be real, a pilot's watch also has to be a great smartwatch for your life on the ground. And here, both the D2 Mach 2 and its little brother, the D2 Air X15, share a whole new set of smart features that really connect your time in the air with your time on the ground. Let's break these down real quick. First, that avionics connectivity. It literally streams flight data right from your cockpit to your wrist. Pretty cool. Then there's the Aviation Morning Report, which gives you a weather outlook for your airport right when you wake up. Super handy. The on-device voice commands are a game changer. You can just say, "Show me the METR," the weather report, and it pops up. No button pushing. And finally, geo-reference to voice memos. You can record a quick note and it'll be tagged to your exact location. That's actually brilliant. Okay, let's talk about the practical stuff, the things that really matter day to day: battery life and build quality. And let me tell you, this is where you're going to see some of the biggest, most important differences between the high-end D2 Mach 2 and the more affordable D2 Air X15. And this chart just lays it all out. Look at the D2 Mach 2. You've got that gorgeous AMOLED display protected by a super tough sapphire lens, all wrapped in a titanium bezel. It's built like a tank. The D2 Air X15, still good, AMOLED with Gorilla Glass and stainless steel, but it's just not in the same league. But the real showstopper, the thing that reviewers like the 5K runner are really pointing out, is the battery life. The Air X15 gets a respectable 10 days, but the Mach 2, it just blows it out of the water.
Yeah, 26 days. Let that sink in. Almost a full month of battery life in smartwatch mode. For any pilot, especially long haul, or honestly for anyone who just despises charging their watch every few days, this is an absolute game changer. It puts the Mach 2 in a completely different category.
All right, let's bring it in for a landing. Price and final verdict. We've seen the incredible new features, that premium build, and that insane battery life. So now we have to talk about the final and maybe the most important factor of all, the price. The big question is, does this thing make sense as an investment for your flight bag?
Okay, let's not beat around the bush. The D2 Air X15 comes in at just under $650. The D2 Mach 2, well, it starts at $1,350 and goes up to $1,500. So yeah, we're talking more than double the price, which leads us to the real $1 million or $1,500 question. Who is this watch actually for?
Look, the D2 Mach 2 is pretty clearly aimed at a specific person, the serious aviator, the pilot who's actually going to use these advanced tools. So if you're someone who needs the absolute best mapping on your wrist as a backup, it might be for you. If you fly in tricky weather where those personal minimums alerts could be a genuine safety net, then the value starts to make a lot more sense. And hey, if you just want the most premium materials and the longest battery life that money can buy from Garmin, well, this is the one.
So at the end of the day, there's no question, Garmin has built an incredibly capable device here. The D2 Mach 2 is a true flagship, through and through. But with a price tag that's getting into the same ballpark as some actual panel-mounted avionics, the decision really boils down to your own personal math, right? Value versus cost. It's a phenomenal piece of engineering, no doubt. But whether it's the right co-pilot for your wrist, well, that goes back to our very first question. What do you truly need?